My name is Chloe Miller, and I was 17, living out my days in the sleepy little town of Willow Creek, Ohio, a place where everyone knew everyone else's business whether you liked it or not. My world revolved around my best friend, Sarah. Sarah wasn't just any girl, she was a force of nature, with bright eyes and a laugh that could chase away any cloud. She was a brilliant student athlete, excelling in everything she did, especially track, and college recruiters from big universities across the country were practically lining up to offer her scholarships. We had been planning our senior year since freshman year, imagining all the silly traditions, the late-night study sessions, and the joy of finally graduating together, ready to take on the world. I was always a bit quieter, more observant, happy to be in Sarah's orbit, cheering her on, sharing her dreams. Her success felt like my success, and the thought of leaving Willow Creek for college, even if we went to different places, was made exciting by the knowledge that we'd always have each other. We'd spend hours talking about our futures, giggling about how we'd visit each other and maybe even get an apartment together after graduation. That was our dream, and it felt so real, so close. Then everything changed. During our junior year, Sarah started traveling a lot. She was visiting colleges and competing in big meets out of state, showcasing her incredible talent. She deserved every bit of it, and I was so proud of her, even though I missed her whenever she was gone. But when she was away, something ugly began to spread like a toxic weed through the hallways of Willow Creek High. Rumors started popping up about Sarah, whispered behind cupped hands in the cafeteria and locker rooms. They said she was getting her college acceptances not because of her grades or her athletic ability, but because she was doing favors for the recruiters, implying she was sleeping around. The rumors were vicious and unfair, and they clung to her like a foul scent, no matter how much her coaches and her parents tried to squash them. Sarah even tried to tell people that she was asexual, meaning she wasn't interested in those kinds of relationships, but no one believed her. The students just laughed and whispered even more. My heart ached for her, watching her bright spirit dim under the weight of so much nastiness. She tried to ignore it, tried to power through, but the joy of her senior year was being stolen right before our eyes. The dream we had shared, of walking together at graduation, of celebrating our last year in Willow Creek, shattered when Sarah made the heartbreaking decision to graduate early. She accepted an offer from a Division I school on the East Coast, not just for the academics or the sport, but to escape the suffocating negativity of our high school. It was great for her, a chance at a fresh start, but it left me utterly devastated, alone to face our senior year without my best friend, feeling like a part of me had been ripped away, replaced by a hollow ache and a burning sense of injustice. Who would do something so cruel, and why? The problem wasn't just Sarah's reputation. It was the theft of our shared future, the betrayal of everything good and bright, and I was left with an emptiness that no amount of studying or trying to fit in could fill. The person who had done this, whoever they were, had become my unseen nemesis, a shadow hanging over everything. I tried to keep my head down after Sarah left, to just get through each day, but the anger was a constant, low thrum beneath my skin. Every laugh I heard felt mocking, every whisper seemed to carry the echo of those terrible rumors that had driven Sarah away. I felt completely powerless, a bystander to a crime that had stolen my best friend and tainted what should have been the most exciting year of our lives. Days turned into weeks, and I drifted through classes and hallways, missing Sarah more than words could say. One Tuesday afternoon, after a particularly draining gym class, I was in the locker room, trying to avoid eye contact with anyone as I changed. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and cheap deodorant. I was focused on tying my shoelaces when I heard voices from a few aisles over, loud and confident. It was Tiffany Hayes and her usual group of popular friends, the girlfriends of the football players, girls who thought they ruled the school and were completely untouchable. My blood ran cold when I heard Tiffany's voice, clear as a bell, bragging. Honestly, I don't even know what I had against Sarah, but watching her pack her bags and leave was just chef's kiss, she said, and her friends giggled. I mean, she thought she was so perfect, getting all those offers. And my boyfriend totally tried to hit on her at that bonfire last year. So I figured, let's give Willow Creek something to talk about, right? A cold, hard knot formed in my stomach. Tiffany. It was Tiffany. This wasn't some random accident. It was a deliberate, malicious attack. The injustice I had felt for weeks solidified into a burning, white-hot fury. I needed to know more to understand how deeply this had been planned. I decided I couldn't just let this go. I needed to act. A few days later, I cornered Brenda, one of Tiffany's less popular friends, a girl who always seemed to be just on the edge of the popular group, desperate to belong. I found her alone by her locker after school. I didn't yell or threaten her, but I spoke in a low, intense voice, making it clear I wasn't going to let her walk away. I told her I knew Tiffany had started the rumors about Sarah, and I looked her straight in the eye, asking why. Brenda, looking terrified, quickly crumbled. She started to babble, confirming everything I'd heard and even more. She said Tiffany was just jealous, that she hated how Sarah got all the attention and how everyone adored her. She admitted that Tiffany had made up the whole story about Sarah doing favors, and even about the abortion, simply because she couldn't stand Sarah getting all the good college offers while Tiffany felt overlooked, and because her football player boyfriend had tried to make a move on Sarah, who had politely but firmly shut him down. Tiffany, the perfect, good Christian girl, the one destined to be a trad wife with a husband and babies by 21, was consumed by a petty, ugly envy. She came from a very religious family, and her future seemed pre-planned, spotless. That irony wasn't lost on me. Learning the full truth just intensified my anger. Sarah was thriving at her new college, but she had lost her senior year, her innocent reputation in our small town shattered, and I had lost my best friend, all because of Tiffany's spite. The problem felt bigger now because it wasn't just about Sarah. It was about the casual cruelty of people like Tiffany who could so easily destroy others. I went home that day feeling heavy, the injustice pressing down on me. I considered the Mean Girls approach I'd seen in movies, thinking about calling Tiffany's mom and pretending to be someone from Planned Parenthood, dropping hints about something scandalous. But I quickly dismissed the idea. It felt too childish, too easily traced back to me, and frankly, not satisfying enough. It wouldn't hit Tiffany where it really hurt, not deeply enough to make up for the pain she had caused Sarah. I wanted something more poetic, something that would turn her own weapon against her. I lay in bed that night, tossing and turning, feeling utterly helpless. What could I, a quiet, almost invisible girl, do against someone like Tiffany, who seemed to have everything and was protected by her popularity and her family's image? It felt like all was truly lost, like I was stuck in a world where the cruelest people always won. Then, a flicker of an idea, small and mischievous, started to grow in the darkness. My older sister, Emma, who was 20 years old and attending college out of state, was coming home for spring break in a couple of weeks. She was always so understanding and supportive. I sent her a text, trying to sound casual, asking if when she visited her college health center for anything, she could grab a few things for me. Specifically, some condoms and information pamphlets about different types of birth control. I explained that it was for a project for my health class, something Emma, being a responsible college student, would easily believe. To my relief, she didn't ask too many questions. When she arrived home for break, she gave me a discreet, plain white paper bag. Inside were several individually wrapped condoms and a stack of pamphlets detailing birth control pills, patches, injections, and other methods. The best part? There was no college logo or identifying information on anything. It was perfect. My heart pounded with a mix of fear and excitement. This was it. This was my chance. I waited patiently, watching Tiffany like a hawk. I knew her routine, especially after cheerleading practice or gym class, when she'd often leave her backpack in the locker room for a few minutes while she talked with her friends or went to the bathroom. One afternoon, the opportunity presented itself. Tiffany, after a particularly intense cheerleading practice, left her expensive designer backpack slung carelessly over a bench in the empty locker room, chatting with her friends just outside the door, visible through the large window. My pulse quickened, but I kept my movements slow and deliberate. I walked casually to my own locker, pretending to get something, then glanced around to make sure no one was watching. The locker room was completely empty except for me. I moved quickly but silently, taking the small white paper bag from my gym bag. I approached Tiffany's backpack, unzipped one of the outer pockets, and slipped the entire package inside, pushing it down deep enough so it wasn't immediately visible but easily found with a quick rummage. I zipped the pocket back up, my fingers brushing against the soft fabric. It was done. I walked out of the locker room, my heart hammering against my ribs, a strange mix of relief and intense satisfaction washing over me. I hadn't said a word to Tiffany, hadn't even looked at her. My revenge was silent, invisible, and I hoped devastating. The next few days were excruciating. I waited, holding my breath for something to happen. I didn't know how or when it would unfold, only that it would. And then, it did. Tiffany was absent from school for several days the following week. No one seemed to know why, but whispers started again, this time about her. She didn't show up for any of the big senior year events. No prom, no last football game of the year, no senior night celebration with the cheerleaders or the dance team, events she usually led with an almost arrogant confidence. When she finally reappeared at school, she looked different, subdued. Her usual vibrant energy was gone, replaced by a sullen quietness. Her mom, a stern woman known for her strict religious beliefs, started dropping her off and picking her up directly from school, escorting her to and from the car, ensuring she didn't linger. The rumor that spread this time, much more quietly but with a powerful current, was that Tiffany's mom had found the bag of condoms and birth control information while going through her backpack. She had completely freaked out. Tiffany was put on immediate lockdown, her senior year essentially canceled, just like she had managed to do to Sarah. The grand plan she had for her future, attending a big Christian university out of state and following her trad wife path, was abruptly snatched away. Instead, she was pulled out of her preferred university and forced to attend a much smaller local college, much closer to home, where her parents could keep a much tighter rein on her. The consequences were indeed poetic. Tiffany, who had ruined Sarah's reputation and stolen her senior year with false rumors of promiscuity, now found her own carefully constructed image shattered, her future derailed, all by the appearance of something she had falsely accused Sarah of. She was denied the very freedoms and opportunities she had envied in Sarah, trapped in a life far more constrained than she had ever imagined. I finished my senior year without Sarah, and while it wasn't the perfect, joyful experience we had dreamed of, a quiet sense of satisfaction settled within me. The heavy weight of injustice that had burdened me for so long had lifted, replaced by a strange peace. I had learned that sometimes you had to fight back against cruelty, even if it meant doing something you never thought you were capable of. I was changed by the experience, stronger, more resilient, with a newfound understanding of justice, even if it was a harsh, poetic kind of justice. Life moved on. I went to college, started building my own future, and kept in touch with Sarah, who was absolutely thriving at her university, making amazing new friends and excelling in her sport, completely free from the shadows of Willow Creek. A few years later, during a visit home to Willow Creek, I found myself in the Dollar General, picking up some snacks for my younger cousins. I pushed my cart down an aisle, humming a tune, when I turned a corner and froze. Standing at the cash register, ringing up purchases, was Tiffany. She looked completely different. Her once bright, confident eyes were dull and tired. Her carefully styled hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her face held a permanent frown. She wore the Dollar General uniform, and she moved with a slow, almost defeated air. She was the picture of misery, her grand plans for a big Christian university and a future as a respected trad wife completely vanished. She hadn't seen me, her gaze fixed on the endless stream of items she was scanning. I quickly grabbed what I needed and moved to a different line, watching her from a distance. The popular, untouchable girl who had so carelessly destroyed my best friend's senior year was now working a mundane job, looking like a ghost of her former self, tied to the small town she had once scorned. There was no gloating in my heart, just a quiet, deep sense of resolution. Justice, in its own unexpected and fitting way, had been served. And as I walked out of that store, stepping back into my own bright, independent future, I knew that some battles, even the silent ones, could leave the most profound scars.